안녕 친구들. This is the second video of my heart-to-heart review series, and in this particular video I'm going to be reviewing episodes 3 and 4. Not necessarily giving you a recap. I think there are plenty of recap websites out there for you to tap, but certainly my review of what happened in episodes 3 and 4. Most notably, what I noticed that I really started to appreciate was the idea that each person has multiple, I guess, facets of their personality that they show to various people in different circumstances and what have you. And we see that clearly with Hongdo's character, in the sense that when she is in grandmother mode, she really does start to show us an inkling of kind of the sweet and quirky and, upbeat personality that she could be if she didn't have this agoraphobia. And then certainly with, and that's very symbolic of that. And I do appreciate, there's a lot of symbolism in the series if you watch, especially when she scampers into her closet, the fact that she never moves out. I didn't mention this in the first video, but for some reason I really love the fact that, I know I'm not supposed to love the fact that she's enclosed in her house, small as it is, but I always get the sense that her house, it's so self-contained. It has plenty of books, so many books. She's got a small little garden, and literally she has created a little niche for herself, or a little world for herself, that is completely self-sustaining in the sense of not having to go out or anything like that. And so I thought that was, just from my perspective, I thought that was really cute, although I know from a realistic standpoint, it's supposed to reflect also kind of her not so healthy interaction with the world, and how, as necessity, she's had to kind of create this world inside of her house. So anyway, but I love the fact that she's so quirky. You find out she's quite intelligent. She's constantly answering the correct, answers, supplying the correct answers to what feels like a Jeopardy show on in Korean TV and so on. And so we see her slowly come out of her world in episodes 3 and 4, and we find out actually towards the end of episode 4 that she has finally gotten the courage, with the help of Hisok, the psychiatrist, that she's finally gotten the courage to just confess. And the funny thing was, she wasn't intending on confessing to Detective Chung. She just wanted to say, "Good morning, did you sleep well?" But in the flustering, moment, all of a sudden, instead of, she tried to say, did you, and then before she knew it, she had spat out, "I like you." And then of course she's just floored, and then she scampers away. And Detective Chang, who is scheduled to get married soon, is a little surprised. Of course, idiot, right? But stay tuned for episodes 5 and 6. I will say that certain developments with his character are soon forthcoming. But what I appreciated in episodes 3 and 4 was this continuing relationship between Hongdo and Hiseo, in the sense that he seems very much a cold, self-centered psychiatrist, but underlying, his gruff manner, and he has some very, I would say, atypical, bordering on bizarre treatment techniques. The way he treats Hongdo is just appalling at times, and you have to wonder, has he on some greater intellectual level sized her up and, decided that that's the best way to draw her out of her shell? I don't know. I don't think he's that brilliant of a psychiatrist, but certainly the way he treats her, some of you may be completely turned off. I hope not so turned off that you don't continue to watch the show, but certainly their relationship is unique. And what I really appreciate about what's going on between those two characters is the sense that she's somehow able to come out of her shell and push back when he pushes, and she'll make observations and draw his attention to them, and then he's able to apply his medical knowledge and actually do something with it in terms of treating the patients. And so in 3 and 4, I believe, were the 2 episodes in which, number 1, there was a girl who was going around streaking, butt naked, and she happened to notice that the mother and the daughter had a heart couple ring, and she had mentioned that to Heesal, and then he was able to quickly figure out that the daughter actually had quite a lot of resentment towards the mother, and they were able to deal with that. And there was this really sad incident where an elderly grandmother was hallucinating that she could see her 12-year-old dead son. And that particular episode really centered around the way that people deal with grief, especially the death of a young child, and how he himself dealt with the death of his older brother, and then his mother, how she is so obsessed and afraid that she's going to forget his memory, and the father who is just trying so hard to forget the memory of his dead son that he left for the United States for 23 years or something like that. And so I will say, for some reason in K-drama land, if something happens, people just go off to the United States of all places, right? I don't know. But I do love the fact that she's able to make comments. For instance, Hongdo notices that the grandmother who was hallucinating about her son didn't wear any socks. And so when she covered the grandmother's feet, that was when the grandmother finally then started to tell her the story, and her doctor, of course, the story of how her 12-year-old son died because she was so busy working for a sock factory, and how because of that her feet, she never wears socks and her feet are never cold. And just kind of the pathos that's there, it definitely is heartwarming. I didn't get to mention this in the other video as well, but I'm really liking the unique camera angles that the director is employing. Certainly it gives a different perspective on the story, and I don't know, it feels to me at times, there's a certain quirkiness about the series, but it feels to me at times as though I'm watching a musical. I think that sense has subsided since episodes 2 and 3, but and I'm on episode 5 now, but I did feel a little bit like that. And so anyway, so the more I watch the series, I'm really liking it. I hope that if you're following the series, you're liking it as well. I will say though, the end of episode 4, I don't know how else to explain this. I was quite... Doctors don't do this to their patients. That's all I'm going to say. And of course, in episode 5, they deal with that, and it's very clearly stated, how various characters feel about Heesal, as the psychiatrist, kind of crossing the line between his patient and doctor, relationship or privilege, if you will. But, I will say that if you look at that particular scene though, and here I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, the character, he does, every step he makes, he does check to see if she's okay and if he's taking advantage and what have you. But still, I don't know, there's something about that situation that makes me cringe. But when I do think back on it, I will say their relationship is quite complex because they're not meeting strictly on a patient-doctor relationship. There's this confidant relationship that's starting to build with these two, and they are starting to meet each other on equal terms. So for those of you who are following, like I said, if you can get beyond that hurdle, I think the ride will be well worth it. So that's just coming from me. I personally will be continuing to watch it, but I will admit, when that happened, there was a part of me that just, I was like, no, this does not happen. So anyway, I think that's it. I'm going to leave this video on this note. I am liking it though, and I'm liking more and more how she is coming into her own, certainly, and she has confessed, of course, her feelings for Detective Chung. And I think now that she knows certain realities about the situation, that he's getting married and things like that, that perhaps she'll start moving on. And we see clearly, spoiler alert for episode 5, that the love triangle formation is starting to form. So anyway, that's it. I hope this was as I hope the review was fun to watch and listen, hopefully, and I'll see you guys in my next video for episodes 5 and 6. Bye, take care.